The air hung heavy and still over the cotton fields of Adams, Tennessee. A whisper of unease rustled through the tall grasses, a premonition of the terror that was to grip the small town. The year was 1817, a time when the veil between our world and the next felt thin, almost transparent. It was in this volatile era where superstition and reality intertwined that the legend of the Bell Witch took root. John Bell, a prosperous farmer, had carved his family's existence from the unforgiving land. He had built a life, a legacy even, on the outskirts of this fledgling community. He had a loving wife, Lucy, and a brood of children. Life was, for the most part, good, but fate, it seemed, had a cruel trick up her sleeve. Something wicked this way was coming. The first sign was subtle, a barely perceptible chill in the air. Then came the whispers, voices that slithered through the Bell home after dark. Unexplained noises, bumps in the night, objects moving with no visible hand to guide them. These were the harbingers, the whispers in the dark, that foreshadowed the nightmare soon to unfold. Little did the Bell family know, they were about to become unwilling players in a horrifying drama that would forever stain the annals of American history. It began slowly, as most hauntings do. A door creaking open, seemingly of its own volition. Footsteps echoing in the dead of night. Shadows dancing at the periphery of vision, gone before one could truly discern their form. The Bell family, initially dismissive, found themselves increasingly unsettled. Their once peaceful home had become a breeding ground for fear. The entity, whatever it was, seemed to delight in tormenting the youngest of the Bell children, Betsy. Her bed shook violently, unseen hands tugging at her sheets. Whispers, laced with malice, followed her every move. The once vibrant child grew pale and withdrawn, her laughter replaced by a haunting silence that spoke volumes. News of the strange occurrences at the Bell farm spread through Adams like wildfire. Neighbors, their faces etched with concern and morbid curiosity, whispered amongst themselves. Was it a restless spirit, disturbed from its eternal slumber, or something far more sinister, a malevolent entity with an axe to grind? The answer, it seemed, was shrouded in a darkness as thick and impenetrable as the shadows that clung to the Bell home. One thing was certain, whatever haunted the Bell family was gaining strength, its grip on their sanity tightening with each passing day. The stage was set, the players in place. The haunting hour had begun, and the Bell family was trapped at its terrifying epicenter. The whispers started as mere murmurs, barely audible over the crackling fire and chirping crickets of the Tennessee night. They slithered through the halls of the Bell home, carrying with them an icy dread that settled deep in the bones of the terrified family. No one dared speak the rumors aloud, but in hushed tones, behind cupped hands, the townsfolk whispered of a vengeful spirit. Some spoke of a woman scorned, her heart broken by John Bell, her rage echoing from beyond the grave. Others recounted tales of a witch, her soul black as pitch, seeking retribution for some unknown transgression against her. Each telling added another layer of fear, another brushstroke to the horrifying portrait of the unknown entity that held the Bell family captive in its web of terror. The children, their eyes wide with fear, clung to their mother, Lucy, seeking solace in her embrace. But even Lucy, a woman of quiet strength and unwavering faith, found her resolve crumbling in the face of the relentless torment. The entity, it seemed, fed on their fear, growing stronger with each passing day. John Bell, the patriarch, refused to yield to the growing panic. He clung to logic, to reason, desperately trying to explain away the unsettling occurrences. A loose shutter banging in the wind, rats scurrying in the walls, children's imaginations running wild. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted, and it was beginning to take root in the fertile soil of his terror. The entity, no longer content with whispers and fleeting shadows, began to make its presence known in a more tangible form. Objects moved with a life of their own, furniture overturned, dishes crashing to the floor in a cacophony of chaos. It was as if an unseen hand was ripping at the seams of their reality, tearing down the walls of their sanity, brick by terrifying brick. Then came the voice, a guttural rasp, filled with malice and an unsettling familiarity that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the house. It taunted the family, called them by name, reveled in their fear. It spoke of things only they could know, secrets whispered in the dead of night, confessions made in the privacy of their own hearts. Betsy, the youngest and most tormented of the Bell children, became the entity's primary target. It pulled her hair, pinched and scratched her, leaving behind tiny purple bruises that blossomed on her pale skin like poisonous flowers. She would scream and cry out, begging for mercy, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. John Bell, his face etched with a mixture of fear and anger, confronted the entity, demanding to know its identity and purpose. The voice, cold and sharp as shattered glass, answered with a single word that sent chills down his spine: witch. The name hung in the air, heavy with dread and the weight of ancient evil. The Bell family had a name for their tormentor, but knowing its name only amplified their terror. They were trapped, ensnared in a nightmare of their own making with no escape in sight. The news of the Bell family's torment spread through Adams faster than a summer wildfire, carried on the wind and whispered in hushed tones. What began as hushed rumors quickly morphed into chilling tales of spectral apparitions and disembodied voices, each retelling adding a new layer of fear to the already unsettling narrative. The once peaceful community, bound by the shared rhythms of rural life, now found itself united in fear. Neighbors, once eager to lend a helping hand, now avoided the Bell homestead, their faces etched with a mixture of dread and morbid curiosity. Even the bravest of men refused to venture near the property after nightfall, for fear of encountering the malevolent force that lurked within. Children, their imaginations fueled by whispered tales of the witch's exploits, refused to sleep alone, their dreams haunted by visions of the spectral entity. Farmers, their livelihoods dependent on the land, spoke of strange occurrences in the fields, crops withering, livestock behaving erratically, as if the very earth itself was poisoned by the unseen evil that had descended upon the Bell family. The once vibrant social fabric of Adams began to unravel, thread by terrifying thread, as fear and suspicion cast a long dark shadow over the once idyllic community. The Bell Witch, it seemed, had cast a spell not only on the unfortunate family, but on the very soul of the town itself. Desperate for respite, the Bell family sought solace in the familiar comfort of religion. They invited the local preacher, a man of God known for his unwavering faith and steadfast resolve, to cleanse their home of the evil that had taken root within its walls. The preacher, armed with his Bible and a heart full of righteous indignation, entered the Bell home with an air of determined confidence. He led the family in fervent prayer, his voice echoing through the house, a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming despair. He sprinkled holy water in every corner, chanted verses from sacred texts, and commanded the evil entity to depart in the name of the Almighty. But the witch, it seemed, was immune to the power of prayer. If anything, the preacher's presence only seemed to enrage the entity, fueling its malevolent power. The house shook, objects flew across the room with terrifying force, and the witch's voice, colder and crueler than ever, mocked the preacher's efforts, her laughter echoing through the house like a chorus of damned souls. Defeated and shaken to his core, the preacher was forced to concede defeat. The evil that haunted the Bell family, he declared, was beyond the reach of earthly intervention. The family, their last shred of hope extinguished, was left to face their tormentor alone, adrift in a sea of terror with no land in sight. As days turned into weeks, the witch's reign of terror intensified. Her attacks on Betsy became increasingly vicious, leaving the young girl physically and emotionally drained. She would often slip into trances, her eyes vacant and distant, her body racked with tremors as if possessed by an unseen force. John Bell, His once robust health failing under the weight of fear and despair became a shadow of his former self. The witch, it seemed, was draining the life force from him, slowly and methodically, as a spider might consume a fly caught in its web. Lucy, her spirit unbroken but her heart heavy with grief, watched helplessly as her family crumbled around her. She clung to her faith, finding solace in prayer and the belief that this ordeal, no matter how harrowing, would eventually come to an end. But the witch had other plans. She had tormented the Bell family for years, reveling in their fear and feeding off their despair. But her ultimate goal, it seemed, was far more sinister. She sought not just to break their spirits but to claim one of their souls as her own. The witch's voice, now a constant presence in the Bell home, dripped with venomous delight. It whispered threats in the dead of night, promising unimaginable horrors yet to come. The family, their nerves frayed to the breaking point, existed in a perpetual state of terror, never knowing when or where the next attack would come. One particularly harrowing evening, a strange, sweet smell wafted through the house, a cloying aroma that seemed to cling to the back of the throat. It emanated from a vial, filled with a viscous black liquid that had mysteriously appeared on the kitchen table. The witch's voice, laced with a chilling amusement, urged John Bell to drink. John, his once strong hand now trembling uncontrollably, stared at the vial as if it contained the fires of hell itself. He knew instinctively that the liquid was poison, a deadly concoction brewed in the heart of darkness. And yet a strange compulsion, a dark and insidious urge he couldn't quite place, drew him to it. Lucy, her eyes wide with terror, pleaded with her husband, begging him not to touch the vial. The children, their faces pale and drawn, huddled together in the corner, their silent pleas echoing their mother's desperate cries. But John, his will seemingly broken by the relentless torment, was beyond reason. John Bell, his face pale and drawn, his hand shaking uncontrollably, reached for the vial. His eyes, once filled with the warmth of life, now reflected a chilling emptiness, as if his very soul had been hollowed out by the witch's malevolent influence. He brought the vial to his lips, the stench of death washing over him, and hesitated. In that moment of agonizing indecision, the weight of his family's terror, the years of relentless torment, crashed down on him. He saw the fear in his wife's eyes, the silent pleas of his children, and a spark of defiance ignited within him. He would not give the witch the satisfaction of his demise. He would not let her break him. With a roar of defiance that shook the very foundations of the house, John hurled the vial into the roaring fireplace. The glass shattered, the black liquid exploding in a burst of flames and a plume of acrid smoke. The witch's laughter, laced with fury and frustration, echoed through the house, a chilling reminder of her thwarted plans. But John's act of defiance came at a price. The witch, her rage at being denied her prize palpable, unleashed a torrent of vengeance upon the Bell family. The haunting intensified tenfold, the air thick with malevolence, the line between reality and nightmare blurring with each passing day. The witch, her fury at John's defiance echoing through the house, turned her wrath on the entire Bell family. Objects flew across rooms with terrifying force, walls shook, and disembodied voices whispered threats and curses, their words dripping with malice. The air grew thick with dread, every shadow seeming to writhe with unseen menace. Betsy, the witch's primary target, suffered the brunt of the entity's rage. The scratches and bruises intensified, appearing with alarming frequency. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, replaced by a chilling listlessness, her eyes reflecting a terror that ran bone deep. Even the animals on the farm seemed to sense the heightened malevolence. Horses reared in terror, their eyes rolling wildly. Dogs whimpered and cowered, refusing to leave their kennels. Crops withered and died, the once fertile land now barren and cursed, a testament to the witch's dark power. The Bell family, trapped in a nightmare from which there seemed no escape, clung to each other for support, their love and loyalty the only weapons they had left against the relentless assault on their sanity and their very souls. But as the witches' reign of terror reached its terrifying crescendo, they knew that a reckoning was inevitable, a final terrifying confrontation with the entity that had haunted them for so long. The Bell Witch didn't just haunt the Bell family, she haunted the very consciousness of a nation. Word of the haunting, carried on the whispers of travelers and etched into the pages of diaries, seeped into American folklore, a chilling parable whispered around campfires and recounted in hushed tones on stormy nights. The story resonated with a young nation still grappling with the shadows of its own recent history. The American Revolution, for all its triumphs, had left scars, a lingering sense of unease that something wicked this way still came. The vast, untamed wilderness, while promising freedom and opportunity, also held unknown terrors, unseen forces lurking just beyond the flickering gaslight. The Bell Witch, with her cruel tricks and whispered threats, embodied these primal fears, becoming a cautionary tale about the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the American dream. It spoke to a deep-seated anxiety about the fragility of life, the ever-present possibility that unseen forces, be they supernatural or simply the cruel hand of fate, could disrupt the carefully constructed order of their lives. The story spread far beyond the borders of Adams, Tennessee, finding fertile ground in the collective imagination of a nation hungry for tales of the strange and macabre. The Bell Witch became a national boogeyman, a chilling reminder that even in the heart of civilization, darkness could take hold. Even as the legend of the Bell Witch grew, so too did the skepticism. Scholars and skeptics alike picked apart the story, searching for logical explanations for the seemingly supernatural events that had plagued the Bell family. Was it mass hysteria, a collective delusion fueled by fear and superstition? Or perhaps a clever hoax orchestrated by mischievous neighbors or a family seeking notoriety? Some pointed to the lack of physical evidence, the absence of tangible proof beyond the terrified testimonies of the Bell family and their neighbors. Others highlighted the inconsistencies in the various accounts, the embellishments and contradictions that inevitably crept into any well-worn ghost story. Yet despite the skepticism, the story persisted. The lack of concrete answers only seemed to fuel the legend, adding to its mystique and ensuring its continued survival in the annals of American folklore. The Bell Witch became a Rorschach test, a blank canvas onto which people could project their own beliefs and fears. For some, the story served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the power of the supernatural and the importance of respecting the unseen forces that govern our world. For others, it was a testament to the power of human imagination, a reminder that even in the absence of concrete proof, stories have the power to captivate, terrify, and endure. Echoes in the American psyche. The Bell Witch story, though rooted in a specific time and place, continues to resonate with audiences today, its themes of fear, doubt, and the fragility of life as relevant as ever. It speaks to a primal fear of the unknown, the unsettling possibility that our carefully constructed reality is nothing more than a thin veneer, easily shattered by forces beyond our comprehension. The story has been adapted and reinterpreted countless times in literature, film, and music, each iteration reflecting the anxieties and preoccupations of its time. From the gothic horror of early 20th century adaptations to the psychological thrillers of today, the Bell Witch continues to haunt our collective imagination, a shadowy specter lurking in the dark corners of our minds. The enduring appeal of the Bell Witch story lies in its ambiguity. It offers no easy answers, no definitive proof of the supernatural or explanations that can fully account for the strange and terrifying events that plagued the Bell family. It is this very ambiguity, this unsettling blend of fact and fiction, that allows the story to worm its way into our subconscious, lingering long after the lights have come on and the book is closed. The Bell Witch, then, is more than just a ghost story. It is a cultural touchstone, a reflection of our deepest fears and anxieties, and a testament to the enduring power of storytelling to both terrify and captivate us. The lingering shadow of doubt. Over 2 centuries have passed since the Bell Witch cast her long shadow over Adams, Tennessee. The whispers and the screams have long since faded, the once terrified townsfolk laid to rest beneath the very soil the witch seemed to curse. Yet the story remains, passed down through generations, a chilling campfire tale that sends shivers down the spines of those who dare to listen. The passage of time has done little to diminish the power of the Bell Witch legend. If anything, the lack of a definitive explanation, the absence of a smoking gun or a spectral confession, has only served to solidify its hold on our imaginations. Was it a vengeful spirit, a malevolent entity, or simply the product of overactive imaginations fueled by fear and superstition? The answer, like the entity itself, remains shrouded in mystery. Even today, pilgrims flock to Adams, drawn by the allure of the unknown, hoping to catch a glimpse of the spectral witch or feel the chill of her otherworldly presence. They visit the Bell Witch Cave, a natural rock formation said to be one of her haunts, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. They leave offerings, whisper prayers, and tell their own versions of the legend, ensuring that the story continues to be told, its grip on our collective psyche as strong as ever. The Bell Witch, it seems, has transcended the boundaries of time and place, becoming more than just a local legend. She is a cultural touchstone, a shadowy figure lurking in the recesses of our minds, a reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. A legacy of terror, a mirror to our fears. The enduring power of the Bell Witch story lies not just in its chilling details but also in its ability to tap into our deepest fears. It speaks to a primal terror of the unknown, the unsettling possibility that our carefully constructed realities are nothing more than fragile illusions, easily shattered by forces beyond our comprehension. The witch, with her disembodied voice, her ability to manipulate the physical world, and her insatiable appetite for torment, embodies our darkest fears about the nature of evil. She is the monster under the bed, the boogeyman in the closet, the unseen force that whispers our names in the dead of night. She is a reminder that even in a world illuminated by reason and science, there are still shadows where logic cannot reach, where ancient fears still hold sway. But the Bell Witch story is more than just a horror story. It is also a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of fear and superstition. The witch thrives on fear, her power amplified by the terror she instills in her victims. She is a testament to the destructive nature of unchecked fear, the way it can poison minds, tear apart families, and even drive entire communities to the brink of madness. In a world increasingly defined by fear and uncertainty, the Bell Witch story serves as a chilling reminder of the importance of facing our fears, of seeking truth and reason even in the darkest of times. The unanswered question. The Bell Witch story, for all its chilling details and enduring popularity, ultimately leaves us with more questions than answers. Did the witch truly exist? A malevolent entity with a score to settle? Or was she a product of human imagination, a manifestation of our deepest fears and anxieties? Perhaps the answer is not a simple either-or proposition. Perhaps the truth, as is often the case, lies somewhere in between, in the shadowy realm where belief and skepticism collide. Maybe the witch was real, but her power was amplified by the fear she inspired, her reign of terror fueled by the very people she sought to torment. Or perhaps she was never anything more than a figment of our collective imagination, a cautionary tale we tell ourselves to make sense of the darkness that sometimes seems to surround us. Whatever the truth may be, the Bell Witch story continues to fascinate and terrify us, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown. It is a story that will likely never be fully explained, a mystery that will continue to haunt our imaginations for generations to come, and perhaps in the end, that is the most unsettling aspect of the tale. The unanswered question, the lingering doubt, is what keeps us coming back, drawn to the darkness like moths to a flame, because sometimes the most terrifying stories are the ones we tell ourselves. Thanks for joining me for this story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you'd like to hear more of the spooky, strange, and unexplained, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.